I never wanted to be a diplomat, but there I was, Ekon Marr, orbiting the edge of Sector Therix 1-2 in a rattling Terran envoy pod, running a peace offer to a species we barely understood. I was supposed to deliver a coded relic in return. Simple, clinical, no contact, but nothing about Myris is clinical. The moment I landed on the obsidian plains of Myris, the air tasted like static. Purple lightning veined across a crimson sky. I stepped out, clutching the relic, boots sinking slightly into the pulse-soft ground. 100 pairs of violet, pupilless eyes watched me from the ridge above. Silent, judging. Then she descended. Not. Walk descended, like gravity reversed for her alone. Her body shimmered, with silver-black scales and hair that floated like smoke underwater. She wore no armor, no cloak. She didn't need them. Her name projected into my skull like a whisper. Wrapped in thunder was Qirellae, a presence. She was a queen, but not in any royal sense we understand. Queens on Myris command, through resonance, through biology, through deep neural authority embedded in their genetics. And she brought someone with her. Her clone, identical in form, not in aura. Where Qirellae felt like storm clouds and steel, her acute clone Ilshaen felt like soft starlight. She didn't speak, not even telepathically. She simply approached and took my hand as if we'd already known each other across lifetimes. The agreement was strange, but clear. I was not to speak directly to Qirellae unless spoken to. Ilshaen, however, was assigned as my communicator, my translator. We spent every waking hour together in a crystalline biosphere suspended above magma rivers. She fed me fermented sunsap. She asked questions that bordered on the poetic. Do Terrans dream in straight lines? No, I said. We dream in spirals. That made her smile. We connected not just emotionally, but neurologically. She invited me to the synchro chamber. I accepted. The chamber was alive. Its walls reacted to touch, memory, even guilt. She stood before me, breathing in harmony with the pulses around us.
Oh.
Then she reached up and placed a hand on the back of my neck. I should have resisted. I didn't. Our minds linked. Our bloodstreams synced. And we crossed a border forbidden by her kind for 10,000 solar cycles. I didn't know what we had done until 2 weeks later. Ilshaen came to me during a simulated dusk cycle. Her skin glowed violet, brighter than usual, in the neural mist that surrounded her was pulsing in strange, erratic intervals. She took my hand and placed it over her abdomen. I felt it. A second pulse. She was pregnant. I didn't understand the consequences. But she did. So did Qirellae. Qirellae's wrath didn't come in shouting. It came in silence. She appeared in the biosphere, her eyes whirling with data, and she dismissed Ilshaen with a flick of her fingers. For the first time, she spoke. Directly to me. You altered the clone. She was designed for empathy, not lineage. You have made her more than her architecture. I tried to explain that I didn't mean for it to happen. We just connected. She stepped closer. Her breath fogged in the air, even though the temperature remained steady. She touched my face with fingers like silk dipped in acid.
Ow.
That I have seen how you connect. I wish to experience it myself. My heart froze. If a clone can conceive, then what might happen when a queen engages the same sequence? I didn't sleep after she said it. Now that I have seen how you connect, I wish to experience it myself. It wasn't a request. It was an invocation. In Terran culture, consent is sacred. On Myris, consent is a negotiation between power and purpose. When a queen speaks, the air listens. I stood there in silence, the words tumbling inside my mind like jagged ice. Ilshaen was gone. Removed, not dismissed, no one would tell me where. And Qirellae. She visited me daily, but it wasn't. Affection was study. She was dissecting my reactions, pushing me mentally, emotionally, sometimes physically. I realized too late. She wasn't angry about the pregnancy. She was curious. To them, Ilshaen was a prototype organic software meant to simulate emotion, an aid in diplomacy, a tool. What I'd done had broken their genetic rules. The clone had developed traits not programmed into her mind, chosen her own path, that terrified the royal court and excited the queen. On the 5th cycle, I was summoned to the core throne. This was no ordinary chamber. This was where ancient queens of Myris had altered their DNA through gravitational modulation, where starborn hymns encoded in light were folded into their bodies. Qirellae stood beneath a spire that shimmered like molten glass. Her attendant 6 beings, each shaped like kinetic sculptures, watched from the shadows. "Step into the resonance ring," she said, her voice smooth but heavy. "Why?" I asked, finally resisting. Her gaze flickered with amusement. "'Cause something inside you woke something inside her, and I must know if it can wake inside me." The resonance ring hummed as I entered. It mapped brain patterns, hormone fluxes, electromagnetic emissions. But then something changed. I felt a presence push into me. Not physical, not psychic. It was intent. Qirellae stepped in beside me. "When we link, you will see me, not just as I am, but as I was. Before I was queen." I didn't understand what she meant until it started. Our memories collided. I saw her youth a time before hierarchy. I saw her shatter a challenger with a single neural scream. I saw her ascend. I saw her loneliness bloom beneath crowns and protocol. I felt her ache, ancient and buried under centuries of calculation, and she saw me, not the envoy, not the Terran. She saw Ekon, the boy who wanted to be a poet, not a pawn, who once ran from a scholarship to live in the mountains of Rinrose 3, who broke hearts and got his broken in return. And something between us clicked. She stepped closer, not like a predator. Now, but something else. Her voice dropped. "You taught the clone to choose? Now teach me what it means." I backed away. "This isn't love. You just want to mimic what Ilshaen and I had." "No," she said. "I want to surpass it." She leaned in, and for a moment, her fingers brushed my temple and everything went dark. I awoke, in my own chamber, alone. But something had changed. My skin tingled. My thoughts felt ... not my own. Flashes of Qirellae's mind flared in me, fragments, static impressions, and then a whisper, "You are not finished." I stumbled toward the viewing pane and saw Ilshaen finally. But not where she should be. She was in the chamber of trials, surrounded by elders, strapped to a translucent arc glass slab. Monitors blinked erratically. They were going to dissect the pregnancy. Panic seized me. I sprinted from the chamber, overriding locks, dodging sentient patrols made of light and thorns. The palace responded, reconfiguring itself to slow me. Myris technology was partially sentient. Every corridor changed, every turn remapped itself, but I wasn't entirely human anymore, somehow. Qirellae's imprint inside me opened the walls. Burst into the chamber, just as a high-pitched resonance filled the air, a sound that made blood boil and memory erase. "Stop," shouted, standing over Ilshaen, shielding her body with mine. The elder in charge, a male named Dralva, stepped forward. His skin pulsed like oil in sunlight. "You defy the Queen's order?" I hesitated, then shook my head. "No, I fulfill it," the others murmured.
"Right."
She wanted to understand connection.
"Yes."
But Ilshaen is not property. She's not an echo. She's new. The child she carries is the first step into something none of you predicted. If you kill it, you don't preserve power. You erase your future. The silence was long and sharp. Then a voice echoed, not aloud but everywhere. "Let them go." Qirellae's voice. "The child must be born, and I will carry the next." The halls were quiet, but nothing was calm. After Qirellae's command to spare Ilshaen and carry a child of her own, the royal court fragmented. Whispers of treason slithered through the palace walls like a cold wind. Some saw the hybrid as salvation, others as contamination. I sat in Ilshaen's private sanctum, watching the bioscan project, a floating pulse above her belly, an orb of flickering light, golden and violet. The child within her was growing too fast. Accelerated gestation, fused neural layering, unknown hybrid traits emerging faster than expected. The Myrisian healers had never seen anything like it, and neither had I. I lest hay unstirred. Her voice a whisper wrapped in static. They watch me even now. Some believe I have betrayed my design. You haven't, I said, touching her hand. You became more than they wanted you to be. She blinked slowly. Ow. You gave me that freedom. Now Qirellae wants it too. But I fear her reasons aren't the same. She was right. Qirellae didn't approach me again for several cycles. But I felt her inside me. Ever since our fusion in the resonance ring, pieces of her mind sparked inside mine. Dreams no longer felt like my own. Visions of impossible futures, twisted architecture, and galaxies collapsing into birthing chambers haunted my sleep. Then, without warning, she summoned me again. But this time, it wasn't in the palace. It was in the Womspire. The Womspire wasn't a place. It was a living archive. It's buried deep beneath Myris, a fusion of organic data, memory, and ancient will. Mail had entered in over 1,000 generations, until two sentinels escorted me down through an elevator, made of light that sang as it descended. When the doors opened, the walls around us pulsed alive with echoes of forgotten queens. Qirellae stood in the center of a circular platform surrounded by DNA, fractals floating in the air. I am changing, she said, not turning around. Your presence in my bloodstream accelerated things I did not anticipate. I see too much now. Feel too much. There is chaos inside me. I stepped closer. That's what it means to feel. It's not clean. It's not perfect. It's real. She finally turned. There were cracks in her poise now. Her skin shimmered irregularly. Her pupils no longer held symmetry. She looked powerful but unstable. Want to complete the process? She said. Not just conception. Bonding. A full neural merge. Like you did with the clone. No, I said instinctively. Ilshaen chose. You're demanding. Her eyes narrowed, but not with anger, confusion. You think this is about dominance, she said softly. But it's not. It's about legacy. The Myrisian bloodline is dying. Our minds are rigid. The child Ilshaen carries may not survive the court. But if I carry one forged from your instincts and my sovereignty, it will be unkillable. That word chilled me. Unkillable. You don't want life. You want a weapon. She paused. No, I want an answer. I refused. She didn't react with rage. She simply turned and said, Then the court will act in your absence. I raced back to Ilshaen. Too late. The chamber was in ruins, walls scorched, healers dead, and Ilshaen gone. A transmission blinked across the room. A projection shimmered. To life, Qirellae, standing before the High Assembly. The child has been seized for protection. The clone has been terminated. I fell to my knees, but I didn't cry. I burned. She had lied. Played both sides. And now, she had what she wanted, sole control of the hybrid lineage. But Qirellae had made one miscalculation. She didn't know that. Ilshaen had shared something else with me before the court took her. A backup. She had passed her memories, her thoughts, and a synaptic imprint of the child into me. A neurobio package hidden deep in my cortex. That spark of her still lived, and I would not let it die. The rebellion began with whispers, but I gave it a voice. I reached out to the Dira Collective, a faction of Myrisians, who had long questioned the genetic hierarchy. They believed in evolution through chaos, not purity. Outcasts, exiles, scientists, sympaths, they took me in, plugged my mind into their network, and together we built a plan. The child wasn't just a life, it was a mirror. One that showed Myris. Its future either rigid extinction or chaotic rebirth. Qirellae didn't know it yet, but war had begun, not with fleets, with memory. They called it the Cradle Rebellion, but there were no banners, no speeches. As coded memory pulses passed through blood and song rippling across the understructure of Myris. Every outcast, every sympathizer, every neural dissident hood watched their queens hollow out love and reshape it into dominance. They all rose. And I led them. not as a warrior, as a vessel. Inside me pulsed the last echo of Ilshaen. Her thoughts, her dreams, her memory of the child she never got to raise, she gave me before they took her, wasn't just biological, it was strategic. She had encoded coordinates, psychic failsafes, and a way into the Vault of Origin, a place where Qirellae had hidden the unborn hybrid. That child was still alive, not gestating, not developing in a chamber. Integrated Qirellae hadn't carried it, she had merged with it, bonded the embryo directly into her bloodstream, embedding it inside her own neural web. She wasn't nurturing it, she was absorbing it, trying to become it. Queen reborn through contamination. The Vault of Origin was older than the palace, older than Myris itself. It was grown around the core of the planet, made of compressed memory ore, an ancestral gene song. It didn't open by touch, it opened by recognition. And when I stood before its gate, Ilshaen's pulse inside me sang a three-note chord of grief, hope, resistance. The gate bloomed like a petal of bone inside. She waited, Qirellae, no longer the queen I knew. Her form was shifting, flickering between states, colors, ages. Her voice came in fragments, as if three people were speaking at once. You came too late, but I hadn't. I could feel the child inside her still pulsing, resisting her mind, reshaping her will. Qirellae wasn't absorbing it, it was consuming her. She fell to her knees. I thought I could evolve. I thought I could guide it. She looked up at me, and for the first time, I didn't see power. I saw a woman undone, but I am not its mother. She was. Her name alone cracked something inside the vault. A deep tremor shook the chamber. One of the crystalline panels shattered, and the child's projection appeared, not flesh, light. A hybrid neural construct, infant in size, infinite in presence. It wasn't waiting to be born, it had already become. It has no form, Qirellae whispered, because it chooses. The projection floated toward me. It pulsed in rhythm with my heart. Then something impossible happened. Ilshaen's voice echoed from it. You carried me, now I carry you. And the child entered me, not physically, permanently. It merged its mind with mine, not domination, not control. A shared consciousness, half Terran, half Myrisian, wholly unknown. I staggered. Qirellae looked at me with hollow eyes. Is this what love is? She asked. To give everything. And become less? No, I said. To give everything and become more. She smiled. A tired, fractured smile. Then she laid back upon the vault floor, her body slowly unraveling into strands of shimmering data. And just like that, she was gone, after the vault sealed. I emerged into a new Myris. The court had collapsed. The Terran collective, once hunted, now recognized as rightful architects of future governance, took over the restoration. No more clones. No more engineered loyalty. Just evolution, guided by empathy and entropy. They offered me a place among them. I declined. I was no longer just Ekon Marr. I was something ... more. The child's presence inside me didn't fade. It grew, spoke in riddles and dreams, showed me. Worlds Myris hadn't even mapped yet. It was learning through me, watching, preparing, not to conquer but to protect its name. It gave itself one. Whispered in a dozen forgotten languages, solve, na, it means that which survives the impossible. Sometimes, I return to the ruins of the resonance ring. I sit where I first touched Ilshaen's thoughts, and feel her linger in. The echo of light, she changed me. The child changed everything. And Qirellae, her legend, remains half a villain, half a visionary. No story is simple anymore, because in the fractured DNA of this universe, every end is just another form of birth.